Parents who tried their best to raise their kids to be good humans, but they turned out to be jerks. What do you wish you did differently? I, male, was sexually assaulted by an older boy when I was a child my parents knew, but didn't want to admit that happened. My life was a chaotic mess until I addressed it myself, and my sexual life was reckless, harmful, and dangerous to myself and my partners, because I didn't know what a healthy relationship was. I was hypersexual for decades. My mom admitted she knew they should have gotten me therapy, as well as get the kid arrested. I absolutely hated authority figures for a long time, because I was betrayed on that level, and it started a burning resentment and anger, and I subconsciously fucked my life up to get back at them without realizing that's what I was doing. Parents, if something traumatic happens to your child, get them help. I don't want to hear the money excuse. You fucking go without you eat ramen, you get a second job, whatever you have to do. But please don't teach your kid that they can't trust anyone in positions of authority. You're dooming them to a life of anger, pain, depression, resentment, emotional shutdown, and in my case, alcoholism and violence. Save them from themselves. Don't let them follow my path. I barely made it out alive and sane. I'm speaking as a teacher, but I've seen wildly different siblings. I think parents need to get a handle on that dynamic. A lot of perfectionist older siblings and younger ones who can't achieve at that level and act out instead to find how they can earn attention. Be very careful who you have kids with. If I could do it all over again, I would have chosen better. They ended up with one responsible parent who was completely overwhelmed trying to do the job of two people. The mom of one of the Columbine shooters gave a TED Talk about this. One of the saddest things I've ever read is about Elliot Rodger's parents. I'm sure they made mistakes, but they saw it coming. He, Elliot's father, recalls with a twinge of regret the what could have been moment when Elliot's alarmed mother called police on her son, but they left after Elliot convinced them that his online rantings were harmless. At that point, Elliot had already purchased 3 guns and had been practicing at a firing range in preparation for his retribution. IIRC, his parents sent him to therapy for years, but they couldn't force him to go once he turned 18. It seems like they tried everything they could, and their son still ended up being a mass murderer. You don't have to win every power struggle. I don't have jerk kids. But I do think I've learned a lot from having 4 very different kids. And I think too many parents, 1. Think the same strategies work for all kids. That is, rule, consequence, behavior falls in line, rinse and repeat. And 2. Focus on the behavior rather than the cause. If you have a kid who doesn't respond to your parenting style philosophy, you should rethink your approach. It's not all the kid's fault. Some kids will burn their lives to the ground to make a point. I have one like that. For too long, it was a vicious cycle of kid acts out. I punish. Kid is angry, acts out more. I punish harder. Kid is angrier, acts out even more. I punish even harder, and on and on and on and on. Something needs to break the cycle. For instance, if your kid is challenging your authority, it's usually a bid for more independence. They're trying to be more mature and they want your adult respect. You don't have to excuse the bad behavior. Consequences are okay. But you also have to look for ways to help your kid get that need met. You don't have to tie it to the actual incident, so it doesn't look like a reward. Give them more responsibility for themselves. Let him walk to school alone if he doesn't get to do that. Quit bugging him so much about what he does with his free time, even if you think he should be getting more fresh air. Look for any opportunity to let him choose something. We're going to do something as a family on Sunday. You can choose what we do, or where we eat, or whatever. Don't tell him when he has to do his chores. Let him set his Saturday schedule. I need you to mow the lawn and do the dishes today. You can do it anytime between now and 6 p.m. If you address the cause of the behavior, it's going to do way more to correct a bad behavior. And you'll also get more respect from your kid. If you insist on winning every power struggle, your kid is going to see everything as a fight. In my opinion, the one defining characteristic of bad parents is being resentful of their own children, resentful that they took some of their freedom, resentful of their youth, resentful of their opportunities, resentful of their intelligence, resentful of their beauty, resentful of their possessions, resentful of their education, resentful of their accomplishments, resentful of their happiness, etc. I think this is far more common than most people realize. These parents may consciously provide for their kids, while they unconsciously sabotage them. The kids pick up on this and end up aspiring to their parents' unspoken expectations. Good parents want their kids to exceed their own achievements, and most importantly, to be happy. Good parents are empathetic to their children. They're happy when their kids are happy. They're sad when their kids are sad. Resentful parents don't really want their kids to be happy unless they credit the parents for their happiness. No achievement belongs to the kids, but every failure does. I worked with youth for a while in a poor rural part of America, and in my anecdotal experience, there are two types of kids that can turn into bad humans. One, they've just had tough lives and no good role models. If you get to know them, you realize they are just normal kids that have never been given the tools, opportunity, or encouragement to act any different. If no one figures out how to intervene, it becomes a pattern of life for them that spirals out of control. 2. Kids that never suffer the consequences of their actions. They tend to have really nice caregivers who have a knack for getting their kids out of trouble. When I say they don't suffer consequences, I mean literally. Their parents do their homework, their parents lie for them, their parents don't ever tell them no. Their caregivers also don't supervise them, but whenever anything happens, they are easily manipulated by their child and take whatever their child says as gospel truth without question. And although the parents don't supervise their children, they seem all too willing to give them everything their child asks for, within the confines of their economic class. The caregivers are somehow both emotionally neglectful, but also always there to help their child out of a jam, in a way that feels like they want to be manipulated by their child. Kids in the first category will do something bad and you go, how could they be so stupid? When kids in the second category do something bad, your reaction is, it's only a matter of time before they kill someone. I knew a lot of young adults that got in trouble with the law, but it was only people from category 2 that got tried for murder and manslaughter. I wish I knew that some grandparents shouldn't be allowed to have a relationship with a vulnerable, easily manipulated child. I wish I knew it was okay to cut people out of your life. We talked to our son about everything under the sun. We had an open forum. We talked extensively about money management, sexuality, dating, how to treat other people, drug use, alcoholism, and its consequences. He and I also watched a ton of documentaries together on all of the above topics. I have a thing for shows like Underground Inc., Drugs Inc., Broken, and miniseries like Dope Sick. Once he turned 18, he began to do literally everything we advised against. It's been a hard few years. After losing his girlfriend, losing his job, and spending some time in jail, I think he's starting to listen. He's been doing a very good job lately. We love him and we support him despite how hard it's been. I feel bad even typing this. It's really tough to look back and legitimately say what could have been done differently. What I can say to coming parents is, don't give up on your kid. Do the best you can. You can't control everything. Generally speaking, if you try to teach your kid something and not be the example, you might as well not have wasted your time. Not me, but my parents have discussed what they wish they had done differently for my brother, in order to prevent him from becoming a violent, homeless, drug-addicted snotball of a person. They wish they had sent him to therapy before problems ever started, and that they had reacted quicker and sent him sooner when they did. They wish they hadn't yelled so much at all of us, that they had been more patient and forgiving of our mistakes. They wish a lot. I have one child, the youngest, who I'm starting to worry about. He's tall, athletic, attractive, and very charismatic. I feel like it's a constant battle between teaching him respect and humility and the worship he gets at school. At his age, he's not prepared to deal with all these peers who want his attention, tell him how great he is, and the girls lining up to talk to him. Yeah, don't we all wish we had this problem as teens? Anyway, it's a struggle. He's gotten cocky and thinks life will just keep on treating him like a king. And maybe it will. He's got the type of personality that makes people want him around. But he needs to treat others with the same respect he expects for himself. Confidence is good, but it needs to be combined with kindness. Our other children are very level-headed and what we feel are good people. I hope we get to properly teach this to our youngest, and that he takes it to heart and chooses to be a good person. We wanted our kids to be happy, so I think we coddled and spoiled them. They aren't ready to function independently in the adult world. In retrospect, I think learning some hard lessons growing up helps prepare them and is less damaging than learning those lessons as adults. The only thing you can really do is teach them. They will become who they will become eventually. Also, when I say teach them, I don't just mean to preach things. Lead by example. You want to teach them to be kind and generous? Then do those things yourselves. If they watch you serve others in need and get joy from that, or love those around you, they may grow up wanting that joy themselves. You want them to be responsible with alcohol. Show them how to be responsible. You want them to learn from their mistakes. Then when you make a mistake, own up to it and apologize. Show them no one should be too prideful to admit they were wrong and do better the next time. If you preach kindness and such, but your actions show otherwise, it will come off as hypocritical. Kids know when you are sincere. My mom once told me that she wishes she treated my brother the way she treated me. I was the oldest and her first, so she pushed me and gave me high benchmarks. But she realized too late that because he was the youngest and her baby, she forgave him too easily and let him do anything he wanted. That by the time she realized that he was an entitled jerk, it was too late, his mid-20s. It's my fault he's a narcissist. I gave him everything he wanted and made him believe he deserved it, because he was my precious little boy. I have raised 3 kids, none of them jerks, all good, kind, productive people. However, one of my kids was a difficult, extremely strong-willed child. I kept getting caught in power struggles with this child, which was leading nowhere and resulting in us fighting all the time. I felt critical and negative, which I hated. I decided to start catching the child being good. Every time I saw the child behaving or being helpful or successful at something, I commented on it, thanked them, praised them, etc. It was an immediate turnaround. I learned that children simply want your attention. Oftentimes, it is the misbehaving child that gets that attention. Start focusing your attention on when they are good and you will see good. It was a game changer for us. This child is now a young adult that graduated from college with good grades and got a great job at a prestigious company. They are doing extremely well in life / career / friendships / romantic relationship. We have a close relationship, and I couldn't be prouder of the way they turned out. Don't praise kids for being smart, even if they are. If you do this, the first time they find something academically challenging, they might think they are not smart anymore, or that you lied and they were never smart in the first place. Praise them for their willingness to try, to problem solve, and to persevere. My kid isn't a jerk, but he is an underachiever who lacks confidence. I put too much emphasis on his intelligence and not enough on hard work. Lots of great answers here. The idea of tried their best is so subjective. Every circumstance is so different. You get the full spectrum of what trying is defined as. Some parents say how hard they work and how good of a parent they were, but then you find out they were abusive thinking that it was good parenting. Or vice versa. Parents who say they failed and their kids are all good kids. Bottom line, with so many factors and external variables, it's hard to know what the true formula is. My only advice is to try and be a good human, and your kids will most likely follow suit. A lot. I wish I'd insisted on eating dinner as a family every day. I wish I'd found more things to do with them that we each enjoyed. I wish I'd taken them backpacking more often at an earlier age to expose them to nature, unplug them from the world, and teach them how good it feels to tackle a big challenge with no external help. I wish I'd been more patient and playful.